Hello friends and friends. Today I was going to post a video about the obligations and the rights of the maintenance mechanics, the maintenance technicians in aviation. You know, those men and women that fix the aircraft. But I have received so many questions in my inbox about flight theory, about aerodynamics. I believe those questions, the way they are phrased, they are from students in aviation, or maybe some aspiring students, and they are probably in the process of doing doing research papers, you know, for their classes, and then they are probably doing some research and to do that. So I'm going to what I do is whatever questions people ask me in my inbox, I try to answer them along with anticipated questions that I think my fans and friends might be interested in, question they might have asked me, you know, because I understand, I know that my friends and fans, they watch my channel not only to see me play music or to hear music, but also to learn other things, just like such as you know, things about aviation, about airplanes, and since they fly in the planes and that we are working on. So I know my fans and friends, they would like to know a few things about aviation, especially the students. You know. Okay. What I really want to, one question that always comes to my mind, that stays with me, is that what makes an aircraft stay in the air despite of gravitational forces, you know, from the Earth. This is a question that you know, several people keep asking. You know, how come an aircraft can just stay in the air and fly in it when there is a force from the Earth, the gravitational force that is trying to pull the aircraft down? Well, you know, I can tell you the reason why the aircraft, the gravitational force does not have an adverse effect on the aircraft and put it down, is because the gravitational force, gravity is not the only force acting on the aircraft. So there are other forces when the aircraft is flying in the air. There are other forces that are acting together on the aircraft, and actually the force that gravity creates. That means the attraction, okay, of the Earth on the plane. That force is called weight. Okay, this is weight. That the gravitational force that the Earth creates trying to pull down the aircraft, it is called weight. So everyone knows what weight is. Everyone knows what weight is because we have weights. Okay, everyone has weight. So it's the same thing, the aircraft has weight. So if as a person, if you jump through the air, you're not going to stay there, because the gravity is going to pull you down. So so you understand what that is. Not to be confused, the weight of the aircraft is not to be confused with the mass of the aircraft. Okay, the mass of the aircraft is the amount of material that actually makes up the airplane. Everything that is every part that was used to build the aircraft, everything else that is added in the aircraft to the aircraft by the owner by the owner of the plane. If the owner puts something in there, according to the manufacturer's specification, according to according to the manufacturer's specification, if the owner of the aircraft, after buying it from the manufacturers, adds something to it, that will contribute to the weight of the aircraft. Just like everything that your clothes, your shoes, whatever you are carrying on you, that contributes to your weight. So that's your mass. Okay, that's your mass. But the weight is when you get on a scale, and whatever your mass, whatever your mass shows on the scale, that's your weight. So for the aircraft, the weight of the mass of the aircraft is the material, that makes up the aircraft. So when the aircraft is in the air, it's still the aircraft still has its mass, but its weight is the force that the earth creates trying to pull the aircraft down. That's its weight. So the mass of the aircraft does not vary when the aircraft is flying. The mass of the aircraft stays constant. But when the aircraft changes, when the airplane changes position in the air, the weight changes, but the mass still stays constant, still stays the same. So the weight of a the weight of the aircraft is so the question that I receive is that how come the aircraft doesn't come down when with gravity with gravity. And the reason why, if you know the third law, the third Newton law, okay, the third Newton law, for any action force, there is an equal and opposing force. Okay? For any action force, there is an equal and opposing force. That means you have the weight of the aircraft, that's the gravitational force that is trying to pull the aircraft down. At the same time, there's another force. Okay? So remember, let me repeat that again. Third Newton's law: for any action force, there's an equal and opposing reaction force. Okay, I got it. That's an equal and opposing reaction force. So the weight of the aircraft, the reason why the aircraft is not coming down, because there's another force, there's another equal and reacting force, opposing weight. Okay, that force is called lift. While the weight, the gravity, is trying to pull the aircraft down with whatever the amount of force is applying, well, the lift, okay, is reacting to the weight in opposite direction. So that means now you have this is a stable. I mean, those two forces actually become stabilized. Okay, but you guys, now you can even say those two forces create some kind of equal force. So that keeps vertical equilibrium. Okay, so now especially in cruise altitude, okay, especially when the aircraft gets to when the aircraft gets to the cruise altitude, there's no forces acting on the aircraft. And when I'm talking about the forces, we're talking about flight controls on the aircraft. You're talking about elevators, rudder, and all those forces that can actually change the behavior of the aircraft in the air. When the aircraft is in cruise altitude, when the flight attendants tell you to it's okay to remove your seat belt and sit back and relax, enjoy your flight. This is most of the time when you are in the cruise altitude. All the forces acting on the aircraft are stabilized. They're kind of, I would say, equal. So the aircraft is like, there's equilibrium. You got horizontal equilibrium, and you got vertical equilibrium, and then that the aircraft is stable and it can fly straight. Okay, it can fly straight, level flight. we call that, okay, steady. It can fly. It can fly in steady, straight, level flight, because there's no forces acting on the aircraft, on the airplane. So it's smooth, and usually those big those big jets, usually they fly very high, and they fly in the stras- stratosphere, okay, because this is where the temperature is kind of warmer than the other layers of in the atmosphere. Uh, okay, so then I just gave you my fans and friends. I just gave you the reason why that vertically the aircraft stays in the air, even though there's even the gravity is trying to pull it down. It's because you have another force. Okay, the gravity the gravity is acting, trying to pull the aircraft down, and the lift trying to pull the aircraft up, and that's it. That's an equal reacting force acting on the aircraft. So that means now you become, I would say, there's vertical equilibrium now. You know, acting force equal acting opposing force. Okay, so now that's for vertical. Now what about horizontal? There are two forces horizontally also that are kind of fighting each other, and one is the one is the one try is the one that actually pushing the aircraft forward when you fly the aircraft. Just like when you're driving your car, okay, there's a you put your foot on the gas pedal, and the aircraft is moving, and then there's a force also, okay, on the airplane that is making the aircraft go forward, move forward, so you can get to your destination. And this force is called thrust, okay, THRUST, thrust. That's the force that is, pushing the aircraft forward. You can push it slowly, you can push it uh, uh, you know slowly, or you can speed up the aircraft, okay, depending on the situation. This is that is called thrust, THRUST, okay. Tango, Hotel, Romeo, Uniform, Sierra, and Tango. Alright. Okay, so now okay, so we have the same scenario here. So now we had vertical equilibrium. Now we need horizontal equilibrium, because now we got a force try to push the aircraft forward, and in relation to the vertical force that is already stabilized. Well, horizontally, there's also another force, okay, in the tail of the aircraft, in the back of the aircraft, that is trying to pull the aircraft back. Okay, remember thrust is trying to push it forward, and now there's another force that is trying to pull it back, and it is called drag. Drag. Thrust, trying to push it, the aircraft forward, and you got drag, trying to pull it back. So now you need the same way you had vertical equilibrium, now you need horizontal equilibrium. Once again, this is where the third Newton's law comes in. For every motion, for every force action, there is an equal opposing reaction. Okay, so whatever amount of force thrust is putting to push the aircraft forward, there's an equal and opposing reaction created by drag that is trying to pull the aircraft back, so that create horizontal equilibrium. Now you have thrust versus drag, and you got weight versus lift, you know, equal, and now you have a stabilized aircraft that can go straight in a straight line in the air, and increase altitude. When they tell you to take, the flight attendant can tell you that you're allowed to remove your seatbelt, and then you're gonna have if the weather is good, everything is good, then you're gonna have a very smooth flight until now you're getting close to your destination now, because the aircraft now is flying in a straight line. But now when you get closer to your destination, you cannot remain at that high altitude anymore. Now there's a time that when you're getting closer to your destination, when the pilots are getting closer, when the pilots are getting closer to the airport, they're going to land. They're going to land. So now they need to start. They need to start using flight controls in order to start the I would say the remaining phases in the flight. You got approach, got descent, and everything, and they land. So for that, now those forces that were equal when the aircraft was flying straight level flight, now the pilots do, in order to start descending, they have to use force. Okay, they have to use force using controls they have to use controls in the flight compartment in order to move some flight controls, okay, in order to make the aircraft either turn, okay, descend, nose down, because the aircraft can go nose down, nose up, all that kind of stuff. They have to use some control, okay, some control in order to move some a flight controls installed on the aircraft. Okay, got, like, for example, you got elevators, you got rotors, on the aircraft. Because in your car you turn your steering wheel to turn your car. Well, it is said, you know, in when the pilots, they use control in the flight compartment to move, some parts, some controlling parts on the aircraft in order to either command the aircraft to start descending or to turn, all that stuff. Okay, so now those controls, now the pilots are using, now they not that the forces are not equal anymore, because now you have forces acting, different forces acting on the aircraft. This is where, okay, now in that case we can talk about the okay, in that situation. Now when the pilot is using control to make the aircraft change behavior, instead of flying straight, smooth, now the pilots are using control to say, oh, no, 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 we need you now to start descending. So they have to use force. This is where now you can think about the the first the first Newton's the, the first Newton's law, which states a body at rest, a body at rest, and a body in motion will remain at rest or in motion in a straight line unless an unbalanced force acts on that body. Okay, so if you have a table, whatever body you have in front of you, let's say you have a table, well, that table is not going to go, it's not going to move until you move it yourself. You apply a force, force on it. Then you move it. To a certain, you use force to move that table to a certain distance. Okay, that's the first law. The first Newton's law. Now, with regards to the aircraft in the air, and now the pilots are applying forces to change the behavior of the aircraft, which was in the straight flight level behavior. Now they're applying forces. That takes us to the second Newton's law, which states if a body, whether it is at rest or in motion, is acted upon by an unbalanced force, okay, there will be an acceleration. That body will accelerate, okay, will accelerate in the direction of the applied force. I mean, wherever that force, okay, push or pull that body, okay, the body will behave accordingly. All right. So, but the acceleration of that body will be directly proportional to the force applied. Okay. Okay. The body is moving in the air, and then a force, an unbalanced force, acts upon it. It's going to move in the direction of the force, but it's going to move in the direction of the force. Okay. It's going to be that movement will be is going to be proportional to the force applied. Okay. It's going to have the same whatever the number of force applied. Okay. If it is, okay, 50 pound force applied to the body, okay, the body will move 50. It will move at a distance proportional to the 50 pounds. So like I said, the acceleration is proportional to the applied force and inversely proportional to the mass. Inversely proportional to the body of the aircraft. Let's say whatever control that the pilot use, okay, in the flight compartment to move the elevator, for example, okay, to create something called pitching moment, which creates either a negative or a positive moment. Okay, that force will be proportional to the force applied by the flight control, and inversely proportional to the mass of the aircraft. So this is why that an aircraft, when it is flying in the air, it stays there because of basically because of the Newton's laws, three of them: first, second, and third. That's why. Well, that's not the only reasons why, but that's part of the reason. That's three of the reasons why. Okay, let me put it this way: the Newton's law are three reasons why that an aircraft stays in the air by equalizing, I would say, the four forces that are acting on it in flight. But there are other factors that contribute to the stability of the aircraft in the air. All right, so I don't know. I hope you understand. You understand what I just explained to you. I mean, it's not really that complicated. But I hope I hope my friends, I hope you have some kind of understanding how an aircraft is able to actually stay in there, and behave the way that the pilots that are flying it want it to behave. Okay. Let's see. I don't really want to make this video too long. And I hope the students that send me the questions on this particular subject, I hope they have. I hope they kind of understand what I just said about the laws, the laws of motion. Okay, the Newton's law that have a very important, that influences how that influence, I would say, the behavior of an airplane in flight, Um, they there are other questions, that they're, in my inbox in relation to the same scenario, but I don't want to make the video too long, so I will post another video to answer this question related to the same question. How What makes an aircraft stay in the air? I will tell you more about that in my next video, and then but meanwhile, stay safe and have a good weekend.